Hi there, Her Plant Girl here. I was recently sent out this hydroponic grow system and I thought we would have a look at it together. I'm going to open it up today and we'll get it set up, and then I'll give you in this same video some updates as things grow and a final review or my thoughts on it after about a month of grow time. That should give me enough time to kind of see how it's working and what I think of it. So let's dive in. I haven't opened it up yet, so I'm not really sure exactly what's in here. It's the LetPot LPHSE is the model number. And it's supposed to have 12 pots. It's supposed to hold 5.5 liters of water. It has an app that you can use with it. I probably won't set the app up. We'll see. I'm not big on having a bunch of apps on my phone to monitor for things. It's supposed to have a couple of different light modes. I think one's for like vegetables and one's for flowers. So let's see what's inside here. Not sure what the easiest way to get it out is. Okay, so it's pretty light to pull out of the box. It slid out pretty easily, so we'll just get everything out of the way here. Let's see what we have. Okay, so it comes with the user manual and a quick plant food guide, I guess. And looks like just a little kind of propaganda, a little pamphlet about it. It says, "Welcome to the future of gardening." This is how you use the plant food. It tells you how to proportion and mix it up properly. And a few pages of instructions on what to do to get it set up. So I'm going to take a minute, have a look through these things, give them a read, and then we'll get back to you and have a look at this. Okay, so I had a little skim through the instructions there, and now I know what I need to do to get this unpackaged the rest of the way. So there's tape on the sides. I'm just going to undo that. Okay, I think I got all the tape off of there. Now it's just to hold my hand, one hand down on the pot and lift the light up. That was pretty good. So this is the light panel that goes up. I think it's supposed to extend to like 19 inches or something. Yeah, you can't even see the top of it, but yeah, it's up to 18, probably 18 and a half inches. So it gives you a pretty good canopy for getting your plants in there. So now the rest of the goodies are in here. So let's pop this off. Looks like there's a little water level indicator there. This out of the way a little bit. So I've never used one of these hydroponic systems before, so this is all new to me. That humidity domes, little vessels for the growing sponge, and a little water indicator cover thing. And then we have the little growing sponges. Honestly can't remember what these were in here. I don't remember seeing that. What did it say? Well, there's marking stakes with little plant labels. There's plant labels here. 1, 2, 3. Looks like they give you 6 plant labels. I don't know what these little sticks are. Maybe I'll find out as I go along here. I didn't thoroughly read all the instructions. Again, not sure what this is. It's not listed in the accessories. Is this like a funnel? No. I don't know what this thing is for. And then this is the plant food that you would use. There's 2 containers of this. And then there's a little pump that you plug in and a power adapter. And those both plug in right at the back. So right at the back, there's a little plug-in, and it looks like there's a little spot to kind of route this wire so it's out of the way. And it would plug in one spot, and the power adapter plugs in another spot. And there's a little pump in the bottom. There's little handles on the bottom, so you could carry it around if you need to, filled up, and probably make it more stable. Okay, so we need to get the plant food mixed up. And I didn't quite understand this before I had the plant food out of the thing here, but it said to fill the bottles with purified water and shake the bottles. So these come, you can hear it, it's like a solid nutrient right now, and you need to get water in it and dissolve the nutrient, and then you can mix up your nutrients the way you need it. And then it gives you measuring instructions for how to mix these two together into more water, which I have over here, and get this set up. So I'm gonna get these mixed up with some water and get them all mixed together, and we'll get this put together. Okay, so I filled these bottles with, it said to use purified water. I used distilled, hopefully that's good enough. And it said to shake until dissolved. And I think we're there now. So these little bottles actually had, well, they have little caps that go on them. And the caps actually have measuring points on them, so you can use them to measure out your nutrient, which is handy. But they also have little covers in them, so you could shake them up real well without getting the nutrient coming out, because there's a spout in this little part of the cap. So I'm going to just take those little cups out of the caps now that these are shook up. Now while I was doing that and looking at all of this, I realized there was also a little piece of tape. I don't know if you can see in there, but there's the pump for to move the water around, and there was also a little piece of tape in there for packaging, so I pulled that off. And I figured out what this is. It doesn't say anywhere in the instructions, but it appears to pop over this little water level meter, I guess to help protect that from plant roots getting around it or whatnot, would be my guess. And then you have your little cap to protect this end, and it has a min-max line on it. It's very clearly in red there, if you can see that. So I can pop, I'm just gonna route this wire and then pop this on, maybe, there we go. It says not to add any water until this is plugged in. So the top little spot here says pump. So I'm gonna make sure that's plugged in. I think that's probably just to make sure that you don't wind up with the wire down inside still when you're putting water in. And then I can mix these solutions together. So it has a handy little cheat sheet. So this is supposed to hold about 5 liters. And then there's a little fill spot here, and then a cover for it, so that you can easily pop it off and look in there, see what's happening, see what the water's like. So the little cheat sheet tells you how to mix this. So I have 2 liters of water. Like I said, this is supposed to hold 5, but I have a jug that holds 2 liters, so we'll mix it that way, 2 liters at a time. And it says to do, for 2 liters, 10 milliliters of each solution here. So grab my little water jug, find the 10 mils on here, just right there. Just fill it to that point. So that's that one. I like that they gave you the little measuring thing with it. Oops, getting my coffee. It says to mix it thoroughly. Yeah, so before you're supposed to fill the pods, you're supposed to fill it up with water. So we'll do that. See how much I spill here. This is a pretty good little opening for putting the water in. So yeah, it was below the line before, and now it's just slightly above, and that's 2 liters. So I would think it would be about there. And that's what I think it says. I'm at 2 liters right now. So I'm gonna get more water. I'll fill this up the rest of the way. Hopefully I won't regret that when I go to move it, because it won't be staying here on my kitchen table. But I'll show you that, and I figured out what these are for, so I'll tell you about that too. Okay, so I've put in 4 liters of water now. It says it holds 5.5. I've mixed up another liter of water to put in once it's in its final place, because I don't want this to be too difficult for me to move and wind up I'm messy enough on my own without having extra water dumped around here. So I'll put my little cap over that space for now, and we can get to filling these. The little measuring caps for these nutrient bottles just screw on, so there should be no spilling. Even if these tip over, you shouldn't have a huge mess, which is nice. Now what you do, I've picked out a few kinds of seeds here. So I just have basically some lettuces. I grabbed a radicchio, their older seed, but I thought it might be fun to see because that's kind of a larger plant, see how it would work. Some spinach, you know, a lot of greens, because I just don't know how big of a plant. I don't have a lot of smaller things to put in here, but I did grab some saved onion seeds just to see if I get kind of some green onions in one of these, and a little bit of oregano, basil, spearmint, and cilantro. So we'll see how those work in here. Like I said, I've never used one of these systems before. It says you can grow all sorts of flowers and vegetables, but I'm guessing you'd want dwarf or even micro dwarf tomatoes or something in here, which is something I just don't have seeds for. But if you are growing things that are a taller plant, like tomatoes, it says, well, you could just spread them out. You'd need to leave some holes empty, that sounds of things, so they don't shade other plants out. But then these little sticks are actually made to help support the plant. So that's what these are for. So I had to kind of dive deeper into the instructions, but that's what those are for. So I did find out what everything was for once I did a little bit more thorough reading. So it does suggest for better germination to soak your seeds, but I'm not going to do that. I believe I'm supposed to just stick these in. Now it gives you these tags, and it gives you, I think I counted 6 here, and they appear to just maybe stick in these holes. No, so they must stick in with the plants. Maybe you could use the little stakes for the plant supports if you're not needing those to hold them in. Otherwise, I'm not sure where you'd put them. I also grabbed some of these because I didn't know if it had any. So maybe they could slide in beside a little bit and kind of stand in there. So I'll kind of experiment with different tags, because this isn't very many. You're going to probably wind up wanting more. And then these little sponges just sit down inside like that. So you just take these little sponges, and now it said you could grow plants in these sponges, and then once they get to be a large, it uses the word vigorous a lot in here, plant, you could take the sponge out and use it to transplant into a larger container in soil or like in your garden or something. I guess that's an option for you. It says if you're going to do that, to just leave it right in the sponge and plant it in the sponge. And it also said you could reuse the sponges if you took the other plant stem out, obviously, but they didn't really recommend it, and they want you to buy more sponges for this, which I think all of these systems are like that. You need to buy more of the little grow sponge things. I don't know how I'm supposed to get the seeds in there, but it said to put them in like that and then have the seeds. So the first one is spearmint. And you're supposed to put 2 or 3 seeds down as far as you can in each of these sponges. Oh yeah, there they are, dropping them everywhere. And then the next one is oregano. So these both have very small seeds. I'm just gonna do my best to try and get them going down the center. And I'll probably have way more in there than I need, and I'll have to thin them out a bit. So I'm just gonna go through and try and get the rest of these seeds in here. Okay, so I have the seeds all in their little spots. It looks like I missed the hole on this one. All these little plant labels, handy to get it in the little space if you need. I just put them, like I said, for each row, I just have them labeled in order of how they should grow. And now you're just supposed to put these little caps on. So these are like little mini humidity domes. which I guess makes it hard to put the label in. Let's see if I can do that. So just pop the caps on, and the caps stay on until the plants have germinated. So you would just, for each individual space, you would just leave that cap on until that space is germinated. So you might have some caps on and some removed, just depending on how fast the germination rate is for the different plants. And like I said, for the most part, I have a variety of greens in here, a few herbs. I did some onion seeds. Now, I'd read somewhere you could do onions hydroponically. In a unit like this, I'm not sure if you could. So then the next thing to do is just to plug it in. So you just have this little plug, and it just plugs into the back where there was the second outlet, and then you would plug it into the wall. So I'm gonna move this to where I wanna keep it, and then I'll go over the instructions for the lights up top here. There's different settings on here where you have to turn the pump on, and it'll be on for 30 minutes and off for 30 minutes. There's a setting for a different light setting for doing like greens and things, like vegetables, they call it the vegetable setting, and that gives you the red, blue, and white light spectrum. And then if you want like fruit or blooms, there's another button for a different light setting that gives you, what is it, red and white, I think is the lights for those. And both of those will have the lights come on for 16 hours a day and off for 8 hours. And if you're just using the panel up here, then from what I understand, it would just, that rotation of time would just be from whenever you turned it on. It would stay on for 16 hours, turn off for 8, and come back on at the same time again the next day. So you might need to, you know, turn that switch on when you want that to start happening. And then I believe there was like just a power off switch or something. I can't remember. Yeah, it's just a power switch. So I guess you could just turn the whole unit off then with that. So we'll move this over and set it up in the other spot, and then we'll have a listen, see how loud this motor is. I'll fill up the rest of the water that I didn't put in yet. It does say to clean the motor for circulating the water every month, just with clear water, just to give it a rinse, I guess. It probably gets spongy in there. And to make sure that you're keeping the water topped up daily. There is supposed to be a low water alarm. I don't know if that's just with the app or if it will actually sound an alarm on the machine. So I guess that's something to find out and let you know. And then this light thing, because these are just germinating right now, should be put down pretty much as low as it can go, which would be about there with these little label stakes in it the way they are right now. So I'm just gonna move it and we'll have a look. I thought for now I'd just keep it on my counter in the kitchen where I can have a good look at it. There's an outlet right here. Keep an eye on it and see how it's working up until to that point. So let's see, do I need to push the power button first? So that's power. So that just turned, it looks like all the lights on. I can see the reflection down there. So yeah, so right now it's set up in the veggie mode, which is the right mode for what I want. The pump is supposed to circulate on and off every half an hour. I'm going to top up the water, which means I probably need to move this light up for a minute. Oh, I guess that wasn't fully on. Now this light won't be able to go, it's full height in this location, so I may need to move it later on, but this will give me a good amount of time to kind of keep an eye on it somewhere where I am every day. I don't know if you can see this little water level thing here. It's really easy to read and see. And this is just pre-mixed water that I had there. So there, the water level is at full. So I can put this cap back on. It's handy how it keeps it here so you can have a good look. There's actually a max indicator inside as well, which the water level is at. Oh, I put this cap upside down. So like I said, I'll bring you back for updates as these plants are growing a little bit. Hopefully we get some germination. Some of the seed was a bit old, but it should be okay. And I'll bring you back after a full month. We'll have a look at this. That'll all be in this video, so you won't have to wait very long. After 1 week, there's oregano and basil growing at the back, and tennis ball lettuce at the front. I've just lifted the lights right now so that you can get a better look. And then I'll put them right back down. Timer's been working. Fan's been coming on, half hour, half hour off. It's really quiet. You have to pay attention to know it's on. And then the lights turn off at night and come back on during the day. So far, so good. So this is what the LetPot looks like after 3 weeks of growth. The tennis ball lettuce has gotten huge and it's kind of out competing the other plants for light. There's a little basil growing in behind it. There's the cilantro. This is a little gem lettuce. Nothing has germinated in that lettuce spot. Nothing there. The onions are up. Nothing there. The fan just turned on. I don't know if you can hear the little pump circulating the water. It's very quiet. This is supposed to be Barilla lettuce. Nothing's in there. And this one was supposed to be Grand Rapids. Nothing in there. The spearmint is coming up. The oregano came up and kind of got too wet, I think. Kind of rotted off. And the water is down only half a liter since I started all this.
Okay, so I set this up on April 22nd and it's now May 24th. So we've had a month of use with it. Let's take it over to the table and I'll give you my thoughts on this, and I have a coupon code for you as well. So what do I think of this LetPot after 1 month of use? I'm happy with it. You know, I've never used anything like this before to grow things inside. I've always gone with the soil and grow lights, big system, big mess. This kept everything contained in a nice little unit, and I was able to grow and harvest a tennis ball head of lettuce, which I really enjoyed. That was nice to have. And I have another set here of lettuce that's ready to harvest, and I'm going to be doing that today. I've used a little bit of the basil that's here growing. I've harvested some of this. I need to trim it back a bit more. I have some cilantro back here, and my little onion experiment, they grew. I'm not sure I would try and grow them anymore in here, but they did grow, and I could trim these and have just a little bit. You'd definitely have to plant more if you wanted more of those. And I've reseeded, and I have a few new things growing. So overall, it's worked really well. I haven't had to top up the water yet in a month of growth. Now, I haven't had a lot of big things growing all at once through the month. So if you did, I think you definitely would be topping up the water more, because as the plants get bigger, they obviously drink more water and go through the nutrients more. But so far, I haven't had to do that. The light works really well. It's really handy with the timer on it. You can, you just get it turned on and then it just goes on and off for you automatically. The same with the little pump in the bottom to circulate the water around. So that worked really well for me. It was just a kind of set it up and forget about it kind of thing, except, it's fun to just be watching your plants grow and harvest. So that was great. I really like that. I haven't set up the app for it. Mostly it's a plant diary. You can take photos, you can record when you planted things and when you harvest things and use it for that type of purpose, and I don't require that. The one thing that would be nice with the app is we had a couple of power outages in this past month, and in order to get this set up and going on a time cycle that I wanted where it was coming on at a time that I wanted and going off at a time that I wanted. I had to make sure that I got up and got it plugged in at the right time and turned on at the right time. Whereas if I had the app set up, I could just pick those times in the app, and it just automatically then, once you pick the time it's going to come on, it automatically stays on for 16 hours and goes off for 8 hours. So that would have made that more convenient, but not really a big deal for me. Otherwise, it's worked flawlessly. So they say after a month you should clean the inside of it. So I'm going to harvest some of the lettuce and a little bit of the herbs here, just to get them back a little bit further, and then I'll lift the lid off and we'll give it a quick harvest. I did use these little plastic posts that I wasn't sure what they were for when I first opened the package, that help kind of hold the plants upright, the larger plants. And I used that to kind of keep the lettuces, as they got larger, from shading out the other plants so much, and they worked well. They're actually sturdier and they do a better job of holding things up than I would have expected. We'll pull this lettuce out here. A big healthy root system on it. Oh, lots of roots being left behind. Might have some of the cilantro roots with it there, I think. So I believe this is the little gem lettuce. And I'm just going to snip the top off. Oh, I can smell the cilantro. Well, it's really nice lettuce that I got out of there. That works really well. And then I think I'm just going to look at the roots. Like, just look at the roots on those things. So I'm gonna put the cilantro. I'm just gonna trim some of that off and we can enjoy that later. I did have a few leaves that kind of browned, so I'll stick that back in a minute. And I'm just gonna trim some basil off like that. So you don't need to pull them out to harvest. I'm not sure why I pulled the cilantro out, because I'm not actually done growing it. I was just excited to see those roots, I guess. See if I can get it back in there. Okay, so this little sponge that's inside of here where the lettuce was grown, this will need to go to the garbage. It's a sponge, it's not compost, but I did, with the last lettuce, pull as much of the sponge off of the little bit of lettuce as I could, and the roots and things, and that all went in the compost, and then the sponge bits went in the garbage. And this part can be reused. You can get new sponges and start all over again. Let's get that out of the way. And lift this out for now so we can do some cleaning. This lifts off, so I'm just going to pull this out of the way to clean inside there. Just set it down, and we'll bring you in so you can look inside here. So this is the part I'm a little bit unsure about. The instructions for this machine are a little bit repetitive, but that's, I think, just translation to English. But twice in the instructions it says there's a sponge in front of this pump. Oh, I feel it. Okay, so I can't see it in the water, but there is a sponge, because I don't recall a sponge. I don't know how I'm supposed to take it out. Because this doesn't, I don't know if I'm supposed to lift this off. It just says to take the sponge. Oh, lifting. Okay, so there's the top of the pump thing, and then you can lift this sponge out. You're supposed to rinse it in clear water, very clear, that you do not use any soaps or chemicals in it. Well, there is quite a bit that comes out of it, so rinsed. Now, it doesn't say that I'm supposed to dump the water out and refresh it, but I don't know, should I? I've never used one of these before, and that part wasn't clear to me. But it doesn't seem like super spongy water. I'm gonna just dump this bowl out and pour a little bit of this water into this bowl so we can see how spongy the water is. Because right now, that water from the filter is quite brown and spongy looking. So I'm gonna try, without making a giant mess, to get just a little bit of this water out. Yeah, I don't think that looks like it's really too cloudy or full of algae or anything. So I think I'm just gonna leave that water in there. So I'll put the little sponge back in. Now maybe after you've used this for several months, you'd wanna dump all the water out and completely wipe the whole thing out with a sponge. But so this, oh, there's a little sponge in the top of this too. Oh, I guess I should rinse that out. Okay, that one didn't have nearly the same amount of gunge in it as the other one. So now where was it? Right here. So I'm gonna try and click this back on. That came back out. Just thought maybe I'll give it a feel and see if it feels slimy anywhere. It doesn't feel slimy. I think it's okay. So then that was the maintenance, so I just need to put it back together. So that's really easy maintenance to do once a month. And then I just need to take this part, and this just slides back in the back again. So I'm gonna do that. I think you could actually do this cleaning part with the light part in place, but they said to take it off, so I did. I'm just plugging the light and the power supply back in the back here. It's not plugged into the wall right now. Just take this. You can see all those roots really well that have grown out of these plants here. And I've replanted some of these pods that didn't grow very well the first time. I don't know if it was the seed or me or what it was, but they're starting to get some roots down in the bottom there. Hopefully you can see that. And yeah, so I'm just gonna keep growing this. Now that I have that big lettuce out of the way, getting their roots, I can lower the light back down probably. The light's supposed to be about 4 to 6 inches from the top of most of the plants. It has a little guide in the booklet for you, so you know that. I put those back on. The only thing I found is like there's a couple that I've harvested out of now that have nothing covering them. There's no dark covers. And reading the instructions a little bit more, it says to just use these plant labels to cover those over. So I guess that's the plan. When I just had one harvested, I just had all the extra little dome caps on top. And that makes it pretty dark. You know, once you pile all of them up, it kind of blocks the light. So that's all I was doing to deal with that before. I'd say overall this unit works really well. What I'm most looking forward to using it for is when we get into the really high heat of the summer and it can get a little more difficult for us to grow greens outside. That would be great to be able to have just a fresh lettuce and spinach and things inside. And the same with in the winter, in our Saskatchewan prairie winter here, there's no growing outside for about 6 months. So this will be really nice just to have a few of those things that we just can't grow. Like the lettuce, I hate buying lettuce at the store. It's so expensive. It's really a very good quality here. And if I could be growing just nice varieties of lettuce that are nice and fresh and grown right in my home, I would really love that over the winter. So that's what I'm going to be looking forward to the most. So LetPot has been nice enough to offer a coupon code to all my viewers. It'll get you 10% off of the purchase of one of their products here. So I'll put links down below so you can find their products, and then you just need to enter the coupon code PlantGirl10 to get 10% off your purchase. So that's really nice of them to do that. I appreciate that they sent this out to me. It's really nice to be able to try these products and find out what they're all about. And it's great that I can pass on some savings to my viewers as well. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.